If you or anyone around you are affected by the subjects of today's podcast, you can reach out to get help, advice, or support from our charity partners, Women's Aid, at womensaid.org.uk, or the Yorkshire-based organisation IDAS at idas.org.uk. You can also find these links and reach out to us directly via our website takebackthebeat.co.uk or email us at takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. That's takebackthebeattour@gmail.com.
Take back the beat.
Hello!
Hello there.
Hi, Farah. Are you okay?
Hi, friend.
Hi. Welcome back to Take Back the Beat.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
That was dreamy that you just did.
I know, I felt like I've got a bit of a cold, so I felt like low is the way to go.
I enjoyed that. I feel like every week you change it up and I just do the same shit. I'm going to trick you all next week and do a new version.
She's going to come in with some like massive Beyonce riff and I'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
see ya. Bye.
I am.
Showing us all up.
I'm going to blow it out of the park, baby.
I know. So, hi guys. Welcome to a different episode of Take Back the Beat this week. We've had a few comments about our stories.
Yes.
And people asking about us, because I guess we have kind of dropped a few like bombs during this podcast of things we've been through, but we've never actually addressed it to you guys.
Yeah.
So we kind of thought we'd take this time and tell you about what we've been through, if that's okay with you guys. Full disclosure, we're absolutely fucking terrified.
Yeah, they can probably tell.
I'm like, oh God. You know that sound on TikTok? It's like,
Yeah, that's
going to be
now.
this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think because, which I completely understand, as soon as we heard, the feedback about the podcast, which has been great, by the way. So thank you so much,
Yes,
everyone who
thank you
listens and gives us feedback, because we're so open to it. You have no idea. Like, please send us emails and things like that, and follow us
Yes.
online and inbox us, all that sort of stuff. Inbox us. How old am I?
Inbox.
DM
I think the
us.
kids say DM.
Sorry, I'm a 90s baby. I say inbox me. But yeah, I just kind of feel like Nat and I obviously know each other so well and know everything.
Yeah.
And we kind of just go, so when we say things like when Nat talks about her incident with being held at gunpoint, because I know it, I think we just expect everybody to know. Whereas really the people at home are going, wait a minute, back up. Like, sorry, what?
Yeah.
And I think because, we want to make sure that this is empowering and it's all of the above, we kind of forgot to give you everything about us and lay our hearts and souls on the table, which I do in my EP, to be fair, so go and have a listen.
Yes, she does.
Little plug.
Very much so.
Yeah, so I think that's another reason why, because I was like, well, it's out there, but let's talk about it firsthand. And I think with me, I don't know, I can't speak for Nat, but I kind of don't ever want to feel like this person or people think that it's about them or anything like that, because it's not. It's
our story.
It's my story, and it's what I went through. Therefore,
and we always say that. We say it's something we went through. It's not who we are.
Yeah.
It doesn't define us as people. It's just an experience we had.
Yeah. But on the flip side, the whole point of this, so that's my little side of me that goes, yeah, but what if? But the other side is the exact same as what we're trying to put across, which is, no, we'll talk about it because it's what happened to me. So,
Absolutely. And it's even, like we said, like I've had messages from friends who've listened to the podcast. Again, thank you guys so much. Who have gone, I didn't know this side of you and I didn't know this. And I think, like you said, you speak a lot about your experience through your EP, which is incredible. And again, plug, please go listen to it. It's insane. But yours is the story of that abusive relationship and every part of it. Whereas like my music is like, hey, I'm finally okay to be me. I'm going to live my best life and I'm going to run around and sing pop songs. So a lot of people kind of listen to my stuff and what I sprout about positivity and like living your best life. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I went through that. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
And I have kind of really shielded a lot of stuff. So when our producer said to us he would like us to do this, I mean, I think both me and Farah kind of shat ourselves at the same time. And then we're like, yeah, we can't expect someone to come on the podcast and tell us their most horrendous moments in their life if we're not willing to do it first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and again, we didn't do that intentionally. We've definitely done it unconsciously without knowing. And I think because I do have my EP, my brain goes, well, I expressed that there, but actually, I need to say it out loud, maybe, you know, because to me that's like I've sang it. There you go, I've sang my story, but actually, that, you know.
And as much as like, yes, your EP is the story of the relationship, it's also not in depth. Like your lyrics don't go, he did this, he did that, or this happened and whatever. It's a artistic approach. Like, so it is one of them of like going, actually, I kind of half know your story because of the lyrics, but not in depth of everything. So this is that. But before we get onto that, everyone's favourite section.
Ooh.
The Biscoff section.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, full disclosure, we were meant to record this an hour and a half ago, but we jumped on Zoom and basically just vented and cried at each other because of how we've been feeling. Yeah. So, I'm pretty sure what your Biscoff answer is going to be, but on a scale of 0 to a whole jar of Biscoff, how are you feeling mentally, my love?
Mate. Well, okay, this is another way of saying it. Do you know earlier when your internet cut off and it said unstable? That's where I'm at.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I was like,
we were like, me and you both.
We was like, that's us, unstable. That's perfect. No, again, it's just, you know, we're going to be real and honest. And I think that brings strength to it anyway. You know, Nat and I do talk every single day. And we always seem to be so synced up when it comes to things like this. Like, if we have a bit of a breakdown, it's usually the same time. We must, like, vibe from a distance and just feel each other's pain. But yeah, it's just been one of those, I'm going to say weeks, if I'm honest. It's just been one of those weeks. And I was saying to Nat, like, with mental health and stuff, I live my life kind of listening to my heart and soul. As we know, if we listen to these podcasts, I'm quite a spiritual person. And I try my hardest to kind of listen to my heart and soul, and I work on that. But when I kind of have like when my head kicks in, that's the scary place, is when, you know, there's a little crack there. And then, you know, it's poisonous for me because things start to seep in and then that takes control. And, you know, things just become overwhelming. That probably shouldn't be as overwhelming if I was like in the right place. But again, you know, it's life, and, you know, we've made a lot of changes this year. I think I still have some, like, not issues, but I kind of keep forgetting. I'm like, oh yeah, we had a pandemic. I mean, you know, I'm like, where did it go? Also, that's another question, because these are the questions that my brain asks at 3:00 in the morning when I'm like, where did it go? Why is it like, why was it so big? Now? And then it literally went from one day to the next and everyone was like, hey world, and just like, that freaks me out. So I think my brain's still like trying to deal with what happened over those couple of years and the trauma from that, and petrified that the world's going to end again. And so, I'm literally there. And obviously everything else that's going on in the world at the minute sucks arse. But how are you on a scale of 1 to a whole jar of the Biscoff?
I'm definitely like in the factory ripping all the lids off. And,
you're in the factory.
Down. Oh,
that's a new one. I'm at Costco. She's in the factory.
I do feel so much better because me and you have had this rant, and I've done something quite spontaneous this morning.
Oh my god, I love it.
I know. I've had a really rough week, maybe a month, I don't know. It's kind of all got on top of me, and yesterday was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. I've had a new piercing done in my ear, and I went, and apparently it's being rejected. My ear is pushing it out, and then on the freaking walk back to the station, some woman ran into me and spilled a hot coffee all over me, and I just lost it.
Cannot write that shit.
Oh, babe, and And then like some more stuff happened, and I got some really horrific no's this week about my music and stuff. And usually I'm quite good at being like, music is all opinion and it's absolutely fine. And I got in my car to drive home to my parents, and I broke. Like, I had a panic attack on the M40, and my boyfriend called me all on Bluetooth, like all hands free, and he was trying to talk me through it and try and calm me down, because I was just inconsolable. And like, he was like, pull over now. He was like, this is no. So I pulled into hard shoulder, and I did my breathing techniques, and I calmed myself down and managed to get home. But then the second I walked in the front door, I just broke. And like, my sister and my mum, my dad was at work still, but my sister and my mum like literally just cuddled me and let me hyperventilate and scream and cry.
Let it out.
Which is exactly what I needed. And then my very amazing partner, he who we've mentioned many times, he actually drove home from his show. He's in Southampton with Les Mis, and he drove home, got back to me at 11 o'clock at night to surprise me, just for a cuddle. And then he left at like 9 o'clock this morning because he's got 2 shows. And he was like, I just needed to give you a hug.
Yeah.
And I was like, and again, like you, I went, fucking hell, Nat, you're so lucky and you are so ungrateful that you've just had a panic attack because some woman's dropped some coffee on you. And okay, so this hasn't gone your way, or your song hasn't charted, or whatever it is that I suppose would make me happy in this universe. And you do have to take a step back. And I was like, actually, it's okay. It's okay to be upset about something I'm passionate about, and it's okay. And then my beautiful friend, Kings Elliott, shout out, like, please go stream her music. She's amazing. Me and Farah were lucky enough to perform with her at Pride, which was a few years back.
She's amazing.
Gosh. Oh, she is. And she randomly messaged me, and she is really busy. And she was like, look, I'm going to an animal sanctuary for a couple of days in Tenerife. Want to come? And I was like, and when? And she was like, in 48 hours. And I was like,
mate, if
and
that's not a sign, like, that's incredible.
Exactly.
Like, the
That's
universe was
literally what
like, we
said.
need to give her some, like, we need to give her a break right now. And that was exactly what happened. I love
But
that. I'm coming with you in your
thing-
suitcase, by the way.
Absolutely. Do it.
Yeah.
But the first thing, like, because we jumped on this FaceTime, the first thing I did was go, fuck, Farah's going to be really annoyed at me because I'm going to be away for 2 days. And God, I don't want her. And like, you were literally just like, go, book it now. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, my
You're
face,
not annoyed
right? Because the way she, I mean, also I had a show last night, so I'm very tired. I got home, but then didn't sleep till like 4 a.m.
Oh,
so I'm
babe.
very tired. I've got a show tonight, and the way so my face was like, had no expression anyway because I was still waking up, and the way she came on, and she was like, okay, we need to talk a minute. And I was like, oh shit, she's splitting up with me. This is it. My wife is leaving me. But the way she came across, I was petrified that like something horrific was going to happen, or that she was like giving up on me and this. And I just sat there and thought, I can't deal with what she's about to say at all. Like, I'm shutting my laptop and leaving.
God.
And then
Yeah.
she just said that, and I was like, is that it? Like, is that? And you were like, yeah, but because we've got to film it. And I went, mate, I would kill for 48 hours away and off the grid and whatever else.
Yeah.
And I know what kind of mental state that we've both been in this week. I'm like, take it. Hence why I'm like, I'm coming with you. I'm getting your suitcase. Like,
It's just hard, isn't it, when you go,
but I
actually,
know what you
I am
like.
supported.
I would have been the same because we have so
Yeah.
much on and so much scheduled for these things and with this project that we have to revolve around each other, which we don't mind anyway because we love each other.
Because it's
But
fine.
the minute one of us kind of feels like we can't do something, or like I feel bad on a weekend because when I gig, sometimes I drive a lot of hours. And I can't get back to people for 4 hours. So then when I put, and I've got to set up and sound check, and then I'm like, oh my God, everybody thinks I'm, I'm no good, and they're probably going to sack me from it because I'm not getting back to them straight away. So I know we have the same, which is bullshit because we also obviously have to think about us as well.
It's hilarious.
But I was like, go, like, absolutely. I was like, I'm so envious. Like, I'm just going to be sat on my Instagram waiting for you to post every second just so I can feel like I'm there with you.
But it's the guilt, isn't it? And it's the me going, fuck, can I actually take this time away to... And then like my mum was just like, yes, you need to reset your brain because you've burnt out. You're there. Like, again, in all full disclosure, I suffer with psoriasis when I'm stressed, and the past kind of month it's got really bad, and it's kind of all down the left side of my face now, which is horrific because I feel so conscious of it. I'm just like, oh my God, please don't stare. And then I've noticed this past week my hair has started falling out.
Oh, mate.
Which, yeah, and it's okay. Like, I know why it's doing it, and I know what I need to do to stop it. And it's something that used to happen quite a lot ages ago when I was really stressed and anxious and all this sort of stuff. My hair would fall out. And I was like, do you know what? I'm no good for anyone if I'm burnt out. So, yeah, I am going to take freaking 2 days out. I'm going to go cuddle some dogs and horses, and I think there's a donkey. And I'm like, yeah, do you know what, actually? And it's with a friend who, again, is in the music industry, and she's so supportive of us and everything. And I was like, actually, yeah, this is going to be great. But the guilt is just complete guilt. So,
well, please
I'm
don't
mad at myself for that. But
have the best time. I love animals. I'm like you. So please, please take so many pictures and videos for me.
And steal all of them.
I mean, steal them all and bring them back. Obviously, I'll meet you halfway with a van.
Right, perfect.
We'll be fine.
Dreamy. So yeah, to be fair, I was at the factory, and then even just talking to you, and don't get a big head about it, but you do make me feel better.
So rude.
I know, but I can't be nice to you all the time.
I know, this is true.
I feel like we're really nice to each other with this podcast, and I listen to it back, and I'm like, oh God. But yeah, so I'm currently like now at a solid. I've got the jar, but I'm going to try and not eat it. But the jar is there
on standby.
On standby.
Okay,
it's on reserve just in case. It's in the wings, waiting.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely back from Costco now.
Okay,
but I have brought some home with me. So
yeah, we haven't unpacked it yet.
We haven't unpacked it.
Yeah,
no, we're
good.
good. There. So yeah, that's where we're at. But it's been a week. I said to you though, what an episode to film when we've had this sort of week as well.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be a really good thing, or no one's ever going to fucking hear this.
Yeah, because I'll be like, oh no, let's just delete that straight away.
Delete.
Yes. So thank you guys for bearing with us. That was actually a really long intro. Apologies.
Do you think we're putting something off? No.
Do you think we're trying not to talk about it? Okay. Here we go. Bear with us.
We got
guys.
this. We got this.
We got this.
Voice notes.
So, Farah.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on. Fill us in a little bit.
Okay.
You start. Come on.
So
we got this.
The EP that I wrote was my form of therapy because I dealt with domestic abuse for a long time, and I think we've talked about before, like, it doesn't just happen overnight. No. It isn't just like on the first date, because if it was, like, hello. And I met this person when I was very, very young. I was the ripe age of 23. And I know.
Those days.
Yeah, those days. Actually, I don't miss those days, but I miss being that young. And I kind of fell in love with what I thought was like my Prince Charming. And I mean, to the point of, like, within the first few months, it was like he threw birthday parties for me, and like invited all my friends and my family, and had like this extravagant birthday party for like my 24th birthday. And not that it's about those things, but I'd never had all that. It was like this big surprise birthday, and like we went to Mexico, and it was this whirlwind romance where I remember saying to my friends, I was like, I've literally like landed on my feet, like I've met my Prince Charming. And that wasn't really the case. 'Cause about 3 months in, it kind of started from there, really. And it was more like kind of the manipulation and the mental side of it. So I used to get compared to other people quite a lot, but it wasn't in like the nastiest way at the time. But it would be
little things.
It would plant a little seed, because I'd be like, oh, well, I don't look anything like that person. Do you know what I mean? So to the point where I used to like straighten my hair.
Oh, I'm so angry at you for that.
Yeah, I know. My curls are so livid about that, but they're okay now. They're bouncy and beautiful.
I mean, for the listeners, I always say to Farah, if she ever cuts her hair, I want it stuck on a weave and I want it given to me instantly. I've got such hair envy.
Yeah. But then I was like, well, I need to be more like this person who he might like because he's giving me inklings that this ain't good enough type thing. And that's obviously where the other things started coming along, like the physical abuse. So I had an incident where it was just like a typical argument, and then he just backhanded me around the face, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And blamed it on the alcohol the next day, the following day, blamed it on the alcohol. And blamed it on me as well. Was like, you shouldn't have said this because it made me angry. Yeah. And I'm like, well, it was an argument. There was some, typical argument about whatever couples argue about. And that was how it ended. And I remember for a few days he was, well, to be fair, I think I was a little bit in shock. But for a few days he was very much just like, you're going to leave me, you're going to leave me, you're going to leave me. Kind of like guilting me. And then it was like the whole I'll get help, type thing. And I shouldn't have a temper, or I won't drink a certain drink because it's, it might be vodka that does it for me. Or I won't do this certain thing because that's what makes me angry. And maybe don't ever say this to me. So I was like, hold on. Like that. I mean, I was young. And like I said, I'd never had anybody lift a hand to me.
Yeah.
So I think I was genuinely just in shock because my brain then started going, well, maybe it is your fault because, look at all these incredible things that he's done for you and said to you this past, 6 months or whatever. So maybe it is your fault because why would he do that? If he loves you, it's your fault. So obviously, because he showed emotion to that, like had a proper breakdown about it. He was like, don't leave, like, let's sort this out. We're too good together, blah, 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 like all that. That's obviously then when I stayed. And it was a lot of, like I said, manipulation. I mean, there were arguments and things like that. And I think I'm a fiery person anyway. But I think he used to use that against me because obviously I'm an outspoken person. But instead of that being a good thing for him, like I see that as a good thing. I speak my mind. I don't ever intentionally hurt anyone's feelings. I hope so anyway. But
no, you don't.
When things got heated in arguments and stuff, it would always end up with like his hands around my neck or, I remember once, I think one of the worst times was I had to ring the police because we'd gone out one night and then it always seemed to be after like alcohol or something with him, which was then became an excuse type thing. And like I said, again, I ain't perfect. And I remember, I think we'd had an argument and I was like, fuck you, I'm going home. So I went home by myself because I was like, I'm going to avoid all that situation.
Yeah.
And I went home and I was like in bed. And I'd locked the door because obviously it's 3:00 in the morning. I'm not sleeping with the door open.
Obviously.
Which I assumed he would just bang on the door like he usually would. And he ripped the door off the hinges.
Fucking hell.
And I don't know how that's even possible, if I'm quite honest with you. And
Jesus.
He came upstairs and dragged me out of bed by my feet and just started kicking me. And I just laid in a ball. He kicked me in the head, in the stomach. I've still got chipped teeth. He kicked me in the face. And my bottom 3 teeth are like, well, the middle one is like chipped in the middle.
God. So a constant reminder every day when you look in the mirror.
Yeah. And then I basically just kind of managed to somehow get up. But it was really strange because it was like he was a different person. Like he didn't say anything. It was like he was completely glazed over. You know when you see when you hear people say like his eyes went black.
Yeah.
Like his eye, like there was nothing to his face. It didn't even look like him. It was the scariest thing. And do you know who I feel worse for? And this sounds really pathetic. I had a little dog at the time, and
really?
I felt so bad for her. And I literally, because obviously she just she didn't know what to do. She just cowered. So I managed
thank God she did,
to get
because
up. Oh my God, if he'd done anything to her, I think I'd have been in prison. I'm not going to lie. I'd have been in prison.
I mean, the irony that he did that to you and you, do you know what I mean? Like, but when we talk about him doing it to Ellie or another animal or whatever, we'd have, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's that whole thing of our own self-worth. We take it, but we wouldn't let anyone else take it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
I mean, how did that situation, how did you get out of
I honestly don't know. I don't know how I got out of it. I don't know if he stopped. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't remember by choice or I don't know.
Yeah.
So all I do remember, because I had a house rabbit as well. I'm laughing because my first thought was like, because my fur babies are like my kids. And I was like, I need to get me and my kids out of this house. So I scooped Ellie up. I ran downstairs and got the rabbit. So I had a rabbit and a dog under each arm. And I think they were like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, why have you woken me up at this hour? Like, well, the rabbit was anyway. And I just ran out of the house, got in my car, and just drove around the corner. Because obviously I'd been out that night. I shouldn't have been driving, but I was so scared.
Absolutely.
I didn't know if he was behind me, if he'd gone, so I was just I got in my car and just drove around the corner. And I remember just picking up the phone and ringing the police because I was genuinely scared. Like, I was like, he's going to kill me.
Yeah.
And the police came and arrested him and put him in the cell for however, like for the night, whatever.
Yeah. Did you have to go to hospital or anything?
I went the next day. I rang my friend and told her. I say a friend. It was one of his best friend's girlfriends who obviously I'd met. So it wasn't like my friends. It wasn't like Lindsay or like my mum or my dad.
Yeah.
I didn't ring anybody who knew me because I think still in my head I didn't want people to think bad of him.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I hate that. I just said that, but it's true. So what I did was
you
ring
loved him and that's
somebody
not a
who
bad
knew
thing.
him instead. So I rang his friend, his best friend's girlfriend the next day, told her what happened. I'd had his family ringing me and stuff. And I remember one of them said, yeah, but why did you get him arrested? Why didn't you just leave? What, you didn't have to ring police though, did you?
Fucking hell.
Yeah. So I know for a fact as well, if any of them listen to this, I'm going to get so much shit, but I really don't care. Like,
I mean,
I really
babe, when we first
care.
put on,
like, it's out.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
when we first did, that's the thing. And when we first did that show up in Donny, you got so much anger and hate then anyway. And we sat there and we went, if they think a random gig in a boxing ring in Donny is bad, you just fucking wait.
And the thing is, I'm not outing anybody. Yeah. I would never tell. I would never say names. Nope. I would never whatever. I'm just talking about what happened to me. I've got every fucking right to do so, you know?
You lived through it. You can absolutely talk about it. Yeah.
So then I don't even remember what happened after that. I just know that I think that I'd rang like victim to support. And this is the bit where, I mean, like I said, I must have been 24, 25 at this point. And I didn't tell my family. And so this could be the first time, unfortunately, they're hearing about it. But I didn't tell my family about that. And I kind of just kept it to his side, which is where I went wrong. Because then it's people who love him as well. And they're all like, you know, give him another chance and come. Like, I used to have his family ring and be like, come and sit down and talk to him at ours. So instead of me like telling my mum or my dad, where they'd have been like, we're here for you, let's do this together, I ended up dropping the charges because I let it all back in, and I just was like, I can't go through this. I can't do this.
Oh man.
And then it was like, for a very long time then, and this sounds so fucked up, but it's what I did. I knew that if something like that had ever happen, or like he'd do something, I knew that for the next couple of months he'd be the nicest person to me, and that he'd treat me like a princess. And I didn't want that, but my brain would be like, I know that he loves me. Like, I know this is how he can be. So why is he not like this all the time? And it would be dreamy for months, and then just something would happen. And then obviously towards the end, it got to the point where it was like, he didn't even eat alcohol.
Yes.
And I remember the last kind of thing for me was, there was one Sunday morning, and he basically, we got again arguing. I think I'd been gigging the night before, and he'd argued about something that day. We were supposed to be going out for the day because we were like trying or whatever. And then he chased me up the stairs, and I'm not ashamed to say this, I had a cup of tea in my hand, and I ran because he came for me. So I ran through the kitchen, ran through the hallway, ran up the stairs, and he caught me at the top step, and I turned around and threw my hot cup of tea in his face. I'm not laughing because it's like, but I just, my instincts were like fight or flight.
Yeah.
And
100%,
I literally turned around and threw my boiling hot cup of tea in his face, which angered him more. And he just threw me down the stairs from top to bottom, like threw me over him. And
this is where you've got now back problems, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah. Oh no, that was a different time in Mexico when we got engaged.
Oh, that was Mexico.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where I was talking to, we went to a family wedding, and I was talking to somebody who I've known since like year 7.
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
he knows them as well, but they happened to be a male.
Yeah.
And he got jealous.
Right.
And it was the same thing. I went back to the room early, and he came and just fucking exploded on me. And I couldn't walk for a week.
Were you engaged at this point?
We just got engaged. And I couldn't walk for a week. I was throwing all sorts of painkillers down my throat to the point where I was throwing up, because I was like, I was eating them like sweets because I was in so much pain. And nobody on this holiday knew what had happened. They all just were laughing at me and taking the piss, because I told them that I'd fallen over on the way home.
If you don't mind me asking, can you kind of tell the listeners what happened that has hurt your back? Because obviously I know a lot more about this, but I see you like on gigs and with your freaking roller, like constantly being like, oh, my back's playing up again. And what this is 6-7 years later, you're still suffering quite badly with your back. And you're a dancer. That's
it's not as it's really helped doing stuff like weightlifting, which is weird.
Yeah,
but strengthening it has helped a lot. But I used to have like a trapped nerve type thing, and I still do feel it now. He basically picked me up by my throat and like off the floor. And
Jesus.
I don't even know what, but the only way I can describe it is like a power slam to the floor. But it was, when you're on holiday, it's like marble floors in your room. That's,
oh my God, you're so lucky
didn't
that
break my back.
It's just a trapped nerve now. Babe.
And then obviously,
he was a big
2
lad.
weeks later when we got home, that's when he did that down the stairs, and that's when I was like, I don't know what to do. But I also, back to the stairs thing, it kind of happened in slow motion, and as he threw me down, I remember thinking, right, motherfucker, you're coming with me. And I grabbed him. I managed, I don't know how, but because he threw me like over him, I managed to like completely like koala bear myself round him, and I took the fucker with me.
God.
So we both ended up at the bottom of the stairs in a pile. And
were you
I've got
okay? What?
I was covered in bruises, but
yeah,
I remember I was that much in shock I'm laughing because I rung my best friend Lindsay, and it was like, I think it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. And obviously I'd been gigging the night before, but I'd got up early because we were going to get the train and go out for the day, like go to Leeds.
And also he wasn't very supportive of any career you had, and he didn't want you to be, if you don't mind me saying this, he never, I mean, I yell at you all the time now because a lot of your insecurities about your music is from him, of him telling you you're never going to be Beyonce, so stop it. And that angers me so much.
He basically, what I used to do for a living, he was like, that's all you're good for.
Yeah, and it angered me for ages how long it's taken you to release this amazing music and have your voice heard, just because of his mind games.
Yeah.
And so, you saying that like you had to get up really early, even though you were freaking exhausted, to spend the day with him, which I get, like couples that you have to spend time with each other. But now I'm in a supportive relationship. I know the difference of going, babe, I'm exhausted, and them going, let's have a duvet day. Okay, let's do this, and it's a support.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, sorry to interject them. I just wanted listeners to know that he was never supportive of what
I remember once I'd said to him about like, do you remember when I was like, I really want, like, this is kind of my end goal of like, of life. I'm sure we all have one.
Yeah.
But I want to like own a venue, like a
Yes,
music
I remember
venue.
these conversations.
Yeah. But I want it like an old school music hall, like Moulin Rouge type venue. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, that would be, and I told him the name, and I was like, I would love this. And I remember he sat there and he went, oh babe, that's never gonna fucking happen though, is it? And I instantly was like, oh. And he was like, come on. He was like, how are you gonna get that then? You're like, come on, tell me. He was like, you're gonna need like £3 million for that shit, there's no fucking way. And he was like, oh babe. And I instantly went, oh, okay, yeah, he's right, really, isn't he? But that's the sort of thing that I got used to. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I'm not good enough for that, or that would never happen.
Do you know what's really funny? I remember sat in Nando's with you. Shout out Nando's.
Oh my God, send us free chicken.
send us free vegan burgers.
Sorry.
Vegan burgers for Nat Gray would be amazing. All the chips, thank you. And Peronaise, thank you so much. I remember sat in Nando's. It was me, you, and our friend Rachel Grundy, who also has quite a similar, she wants to own like a music venue, but a bit of a different one to what you wanted.
Yeah, because we were chatting about it.
It's a different kind of vibe. Yeah, but I remember sat there and Grundy started saying all about all of this. And you were like, and this was kind of quite recent after the situation of you actually leaving him. And I remember you being like, I kind of want to do it too. And being really like, shy. I never describe you as shy, but you were really reserved on coming forward with it. Yeah. And I remember within about 10 minutes, you two were literally just like, oh my God, I'm going to call mine this. I'm going to call mine this. Rah, rah, rah. And I was like, guys, do you need a slot for a singer? Because I'm free and available. And it was really lovely. But I remember you being really like, about it. And I was like, that's not the Farah I know. Like the Farah I know is quite a ballsy woman who wants what she wants and gets what she gets. Like you are that woman of like, I want this and I'm fucking hardworking, I'm going to get it. So it's really interesting, like when you told me that he used to say that sort of stuff, and it made so much sense in my head as to why you were then really scared to put yourself out there, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, when I think
back
about
to what you're saying.
No, it's fine. When I think about, and I am going to blow smoke up my own ass right now, how far I've come from that to releasing music or even writing music and, you know, and posting videos. I never used to do any of that. Like, if you look back through any of my social media, please don't look that far back. It's scary. Anyone listening, I'm like, no. But I never posted anything video-wise, ever. Yeah, no. Because there was a point where I was like, I wouldn't even call myself a singer, even though I was getting paid and that was my job. I was like, nah, I'm not a professional singer. Like, because I never was... I was always told that wasn't, it was like, oh, it's just a bit of this, isn't it? And like, why would I come that was my favourite one. I'd get, why would I come see it? I've already seen it. Like, I'm like, okay. Yeah. And you know, that's the sort of support that I was used to having. I just thought that was normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the which one? God, we did the tea one.
So you called Lindsay.
Oh yeah, I called Lindsay. This is
the
tea one, the stairs. Sorry, it is so bad that I laugh, but I was like, babe, the cup of tea. I have to add it in there because I just went into fight or flight mode, and I was like, right, I know what's going to happen, so I'm just going to throw. Yeah. Yeah, so I called Lindsay, but because I was in so much shock, because I just bounced back up off the floor and walked it off like a
God.
crazy person, but I didn't know what to do. And
Yeah, of course.
I rung Lindsay and I was like, "Hi, good morning." Like, if I rung you like that, you'd be like, "What the fuck? Like, are you a robot?"
Yeah.
And I just went, "Hi, morning," and she was like, "Hello," and I was like, "I need you to come to my house, like now," like just like that. And she went,
God,
right, okay. I went, "Okay, bye." Put the phone down. I've never, God bless her, she just had my nephew as well, so she had a little baby to sort out. I know it's so bad, but when I tell you she is a ride or die, she was at my house in 10 minutes, baby in hand.
Oh, wow.
Like, walked through the door.
Love her. Yes.
And she went, "What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?" And I was like, I went, "We need to get in the car now. We're going." So, speaking of my dad, bless him, he's ringing me right now. I can't talk right now, Dad.
Oh, bless
I'm
him.
sorry. I'm bearing my soul. You're probably listening to this.
Sorry.
So I got in the car and we went to Starbucks, and I just told her. And that for me, I was like, "Oh shit, I've just told my best friend. Like, now it's real." I think people had inklings over the years because there was bruises here and there that I covered up. So when you're wearing a jumper neck in a neck. What is it called? A jumper neck? A neck?
Jumper
what the
neck.
fuck is that? I don't know. See, my brain's
You're
fried.
right.
I'm
Like a
not
turtleneck.
okay. No,
A turtleneck.
yeah, a turtleneck. What did I say?
Turtleneck. Jumper neck.
A jumper neck.
Jesus.
We're cutting that out.
You've made your own-
Mike, edit that out. I was wearing a jumper neck. And,
jumper neck?
When it's the summer, people are like, that's
Why?
And I used to blame a lot of my bruises on my arms from from my gear that I used to use.
Yeah, PA system is a great one.
And you're saying that because I used to say it to you. You collared me once and was like, "Babe, what's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, my speaker pole fell on my arm." And you're like, and I remember that exactly because I felt like you knew. I felt like the reason you asked is because you knew.
Yeah, and it's so hard because you don't want to be like, as a friend, especially someone who's been through it. I didn't want to be like, "What is this?" Da 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 da, because there's that whole thing, and it's kind of what we spoke to Leanne about, of like, even if you have inklings, there's such a fine line between going, right, now with me, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna save you, and also overstepping the line, and you could actually lose that person.
Yeah.
Like, my mum says that a lot, and it's like, when do you interject? When do you go fuck? Because also you don't want to be the person that saw the signs and didn't step in, and unfortunately that person is no longer with us. It's fucking tough.
Yeah.
And we weren't that close. We just used to gig together. I knew you as the girl from Donny, who I loved her accent, and she was really funny. So like, when little things started happening, and I'll never forget, we had a gig in Liverpool and everyone was like, "Oh my God, babe, you're engaged. Where's the ring?" And you weren't wearing the ring.
I wasn't.
And I was like, that's weird. And then it was about, I don't even know how long it was. We then did a gig together in Germany, which we talk about as the day of when we kind of solidified
Yeah, we've talked
this.
about that before on here, yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember talking to you, and it was like, everything's fallen apart. This is a situation. And I just sat on that bench and being like, "I've got you. I'm here." And I knew, but I didn't know you well. I didn't know what to do. And it's so, and you do, as a friend, to make it all about me, you do feel guilt. You feel horrendous guilt of, when you told me about the stairs, my heart just dropped, and I was like, "Why the fuck didn't you say something? Why?" And you just, there's nothing you can do. Like, I can't turn back time and rescue you. Not that you need rescuing, you're a strong woman, but like, it's horrible. And I'm like very proud of you where you are now. But having those conversations, you just know, any listeners out there, if you've got any inklings with your friends, just check in, just keep fucking checking in, and eventually,
because don't get me wrong, I was an arsehole at this point. Like, I was an absolute arsehole because nobody knew what was going on, and I wasn't me anymore. In fact, Nat knows about this. I have an old laptop put away, and I basically got to the point where I felt I had no one to talk to, because I didn't tell anyone. So it wasn't because no one was there for me. It was because I couldn't tell anyone. And every time I tried to talk to him about it, it'd be like, "I'm sick of fucking talking about it. It happened last week. Get over it. Or let's just move on." I was like, no, I need to vent. I need to talk about this. But also, you're the reason I feel this way. So I just opened my laptop one day and just pressed record, and I just sat with the camera and I talked, and that was it. And I've watched it once. And I think I must have recorded it in 2017, and I watched it in 2018.
That's quite soon.
Yeah, so I was still in it. And I just, it did it ruined me for a long time. I haven't been able to watch it. I kind of want to, especially doing all this.
Yeah.
I feel like it's probably...
Yeah, we've said about watching it together and having the support of it. Yeah.
But I definitely know I need to be ready for that. Like, this is not this week. Like, definitely.
Yeah, today is not that day. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's absolutely okay. And it might never be that day. And that is also okay.
And like, I don't know, I definitely became this like angry, horrible version of myself because I felt like, because these things were happening to me, and for some reason I was like, I deserve it. I'm a piece of shit. You know, he says it. He's like, well, you said that, or you did this, or... And I'm like, when I look at it now, I'm like, nobody deserves any of that though. Like...
No.
So what if I was sassy one day, or, you know...
But you were so manipulated.
Oh, yeah.
Your brain was fried.
Yeah, and...
Like, he was law.
I feel sorry
Everything he said was law.
I feel sorry for my friends and family at that point, because I was an arsehole. And I did just push everybody away. I was like, if anybody said anything to me at that point, I'd be like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
And that would be my response. Like, I would never say that to anyone now. But I'd be like, oh, just fucking leave me alone. But that's and I'm being genuinely honest right now. People can think, oh, what a horrible person. She's on here preaching about being a good person. But I was at a point where I was like, I don't want to be here. And I remember...
Do you want to stop? You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to make me cry. I can't watch you cry. You're okay. You got this. You got this. Okay. This is the hardest thing, recording this against you, because I just want to hug your face off and just give you the biggest squeeze.
This part's not even about that. It's I'm crying because I think I've already told you this, but I remember for such a long time, because I'm saying this because I always preach about how spiritual I am, and I'm like, got this and got that. Which, by the way, I still stand. But I remember...
She does. I can vouch for that.
I do. I remember... I mean, we all pray for things.
Yeah.
But I remember for a long time, every night I'd pray and I'd just be like, God, I don't want to wake up.
Yeah.
And I just
prayed. And I'm so fucking thankful he didn't listen to that.
Well, that's why I'm crying, because I'm like, how fucking rude of me to be like, hey, big man, like, or big woman, whoever you are, take me before I'm ready, before you say I'm ready. So, yeah, I used to pray every night and just be like, Lord, please, I don't want to wake up in the morning. And it's so sad that that's because I just couldn't deal anymore. I hated myself.
I'm going to call you out on something you just said, because we're trying to do this with each other at the moment, of calling each other out. And you've literally just had a go at yourself for wishing to die. And I'm, no. You were in such a bad place. Like, you were a stick. You were so ill and you were so broken. And it's not your fault. You didn't ask for it. You didn't sit there and say, do this to me, or... What happened to you is fucking disgusting, and I'm so angry at this human. I'm getting so angry for you.
Oh, man. Are we good? Are you okay?
It's one of them things of like... Oh, sorry, listen, this must be horrible. Just two girls freaking crying over each other. But it's like, if you've saved me from so many situations and so many bad thoughts, and I had a really bad kind of a few years ago, and you didn't even know about it, but yet you were the person that kind of got me out of it. And it's like, if you weren't there, you have such an impact on so many different people's lives, even if you don't realise you do. And that's just me telling you that as your best mate. Like, you genuinely saved me a lot of times. And I think if I'm, I don't believe in a God. I'm a spiritual. I don't know what I believe in, but I don't know what I can believe in. I don't know. Too many things have happened for me to solidify it, whatever. But my head instantly, when you say that, and you've said to me before and it really upset me then, like, thank fuck he wasn't listening, or she wasn't listening, or whoever the magical goat is. Like, I'm so grateful that you got the fuck out of there, and I'm so grateful he didn't win, and I'm so fucking thankful that you are still here and you are still this strong, independent woman, and you're doing this with me, and this is amazing. But it saddens me so much that you still carry so much guilt about it. Like, you've instantly then just said, like, oh, I wish, I'm so annoyed at myself for praying for that, how selfish. And it's like, no, you saw no way out. You didn't have a support system. No one knew, and all you had was his freaking family, like, supporting him. And that's horrid. Like, and I don't want you to feel any form of guilt for how low you felt. And I'm really grateful you don't feel that way. And I'm really, really happy that you are still here. And I don't want you to blame yourself, because it makes me really angry. And I don't like getting upset, and I've just got upset about it. So therefore, never, ever, ever put guilt on yourself again, because you'll make me cry, and I'm going to be selfish and say you don't want to make me cry.
No, that is true. I don't want to make you cry.
Yes. You don't.
I love you. So
please.
Thank you.
I love you very much. And I hate doing this over fucking Zoom. I just want to give you a call.
I know, we need to be in the same room for this one.
Yeah. It's horrible. Watching your best mate cry over Zoom is probably the worst thing ever. Right. I've just literally burst out crying because you've started crying. Like, ugh. But right, let's move on to something a bit. How did you get out of it? What was the final shebang? Okay. How did you leave?
So I think I stayed a little bit longer, but it was very much just like two strangers living together at this point.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just broke one day. We were sleeping in separate beds, and obviously because I didn't want to be anywhere near. And he wasn't coming home. Like, I get home from gigs, and
I remember.
Yeah, I get home from gigs, and he just wouldn't come home. Or go on benders for the weekend and just be like, oh, hi. And I think that's what it was. Came on one like Monday morning. I think he had a dentist appointment, weirdly enough. And he'd left his wallet at home. So he'd already left, and then he'd left his wallet. And I think I was on the thing of like, well, where were you? Why have you been out all weekend? Like, what's going on? Da-da-da.
Yeah.
And he just got so angry because I wouldn't leave it. And then I remember he rang my phone, and he was like, where's my wallet? And I was like, what? And I think he thought I'd took his wallet. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, where the fuck is my wallet? And I was like, what? I don't know. So I was like looking around. I was like, oh, it's here. And he said something, and I can't even remember why, because I think I just blacked out at this point. But he just said, well, I'm on my way back now. And he said something, and he was like, I'll snap your fucking neck if you carry on. And my body had shivers from top to bottom, because something said to me, he actually would. He actually would.
Yeah.
And I got so scared because I knew he was only down the road. Yeah. I called my auntie who lived across the road. It's one of them where she's not your real auntie. But you know, she's known me since I was a little girl. So, and she has a lot of health problems actually. And there's been many a times where I would ring her and she wouldn't answer, more than none. And many a times that she'd be not well, and I'd not see her for days, or she wouldn't leave the house.
Yeah.
And this one particular day, this is why I'm like, someone saved me, because I think it rang twice and she picked up. And I went, please, can you come round here like now? And she was like, yeah, okay. And again, usually, you know, she's quite an ill woman. She'd have to take her time or whatever. She was at that door, and the minute I opened the front door to her, he pulled up, and it was so weird. It was like something out of a film, because he just looked at me and he just knew. Yeah. He knew why she were there. But it was such perfect timing, because I honestly like heard him like speed around the corner and pull up, And he looked at me, and I gave her the wallet to pass to him.
Yeah.
And then he just sped off. But he knew that I would. He knew that that was it.
Yes.
That's, oh my God, I feel like I've been blabbling on. I do apologise to everybody listening, but you honoured it. There it is.
I'm literally going to throw something at you every time you apologise.
Shit, I know I'm doing it again. See?
Jeez.
I struggle so much with being vulnerable, so I do just apologise a lot.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I'm just going to call you out on it every single time. So
but that's my story. And I have obviously since then rebuilt my life in the best way possible.
Yeah. You have.
I'm thriving.
You are, and it's, I mean, how do you feel about, because you haven't been in a relationship since.
No.
But how do you feel about that? How do you feel about getting, because I know recently you said to me, like, you are looking forward to it and you're excited for it, which is the kind of first time you've said that to me. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's new. Because again, being vulnerable is very difficult, and it's something in a relationship that's very important to do. And I know that you're already terrified to do that.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I'm excited, but obviously terrified. I think I look at that now as like, I definitely had to heal myself. And
yes,
don't get me wrong, there's been people in between, dating and what or not, as we do. But nothing that I've ever.
You're a gorgeous young woman.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course. Why not? Live your life. Yeah.
But I don't think I've been ready. You know what I mean? Like I had that stage when it really was done, like after that little blip and setback, which we all have. That's when I was very bitter. Like I was like, nah, fuck love. Like I was like, no, men are all wankers. I was in that stage that we all go through.
Yeah.
And then I got to a stage of falling back in love with myself, which I think is very important.
Absolutely. 1,000,000%.
And when I say myself, I don't mean physically. I mean, like, you've got to learn to love yourself again.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And I started doing good things for me and, you know, starting hobbies again, things that I hadn't done for a very long time. And then, I think I kind of, you know, was hoping to start dating and stuff. And then that's when the pandemic kind of came. So the universe was like, not yet, baby, not yet. We're going to have a couple of years off.
Really, firstly, it's really weird. Like, 'cause obviously I know your story, so I know you and I know how you've dealt with it and coped, but you haven't had professional help, have you? You haven't done that move yet.
No.
And I remember when the pandemic hit, we used to, again, send really long voice notes to each other, and we both go on our like daily walks.
Yes.
And voice note each other for 25 minutes or whatever. And I remember you saying to me, you were like, I feel like since me and this guy finished and it was 100% over and he is 100% out of my life now, I've been going 150 miles an hour to kind of cover it and to not think about it, because we're really good at that. We're really good at being busy.
Yes.
And going, I'm absolutely fine. Yeah, of course I'll do that. Okay, so that means no time to myself to think, great, let's do that. And that's obviously really unhealthy, but that's how we cope with a lot of things. And which is why we do call out each other quite a lot and say, no, go away for a couple of days, or don't go for a walk, or do whatever. And I remember you saying to me, you're like, COVID's hit and I can't go 150 miles an hour. And now I'm just sat here with my thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm talking. And I remember us having these really deep conversations about relationships and about trust and about what we've been through, and even music and stuff like this. And I remember being like, and I think I said this to you, it's a friend of mine voice noted me and told me that like everyone in the pandemic is having to face their own demons because we don't have the option of being like, I feel shit today. Right, who's free? Who wants to go for a drink? Who wants to go dancing? Who wants to go to the cinema? Like, we don't have that option. All we have is our own thoughts. And a lot of people were like in isolation on their own or without families. So all they had was themselves. And you had to face it, and you had to go, fuck, I nearly died.
Yeah.
That's horrific. And I remember the more we spoke about it, and now coming out of this pandemic, like you've always been a strong person, which I know you have a weird relationship with, I know you won't mind me saying this, but there's been comments before where people say to you, oh my God, I didn't know that would happen to you.
Yeah.
And it's horrific because it feels like a character attack. But unfortunately, you do come across so strong and so like this rock, which sometimes means people forget to check in with you, and people forget that you are a human and you have emotions, because you are an empath and you ask people how they are, not how you are. And that's not a bad thing. But I think since the pandemic, you are a lot more in tune with who you are and what you want and what you deserve, and also what you've been through.
Yes.
Because even this conversation we've had now, like, obviously we both got quite upset about it, but the reality is we only ever really speak about this after a few glasses of wine.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah, and when we're in a weird place, whereas we're having to face it sober, we're having to face it and actually deal with it and digest it and go, fuck, that's not a film that happened to me.
Yeah, that actually happened, yeah.
Yeah, you've done some, I know you had some low points in the pandemic, but you've done some solid work on yourself.
Thank you. That honestly means a lot, because that's genuinely what I've been trying to do.
Yeah.
And again, I know...
And I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you and I love you.
You're welcome.
I know
Stop.
I have... I don't ever think anyone, if we're honest with ourselves, will ever truly be done working on ourselves. So that's why I don't feel bad or, silly or embarrassed to sit here and be like, yeah, I'm at Costco buying all the Biscoff this week. That doesn't mean it's a weakness. It doesn't mean it's a setback. It just means I'm a human being. And this week, my incredibly strong emotions have just got the better of me. And again, that just means I'm a human. And I'm going to, next week, or even maybe not next week, the week after, whenever, I know that I'm going to be okay. And it helps, like you said, like I feel just telling that story, I was genuinely petrified. And I guess listening back to this at some point, I'd be like, wow, I sound like a little mouth. Like, but I feel so much better telling that. And
and owning it.
I mean, it's not
something we're ashamed of.
It happened, and it's as simple as that. And like you said, I really did in the pandemic. My God, I wrote Purple in lockdown, and that's that's one of your favorite songs. But that's
my
a dark song.
I know, but why is that my favorite? But I think I heard it and I said to you, I listened. Well, I watched your EP because you did it on a YouTube video. You sent it to me, and I just sobbed in my kitchen, and I was just like, fuck, yeah, like I know this story because you've mentioned bits of it to me in the past in brief conversations, but listening to it and you go,
that was the point where I was like, I've got so many journals from lockdown, which I don't think I dare read back because they might be a little dark.
No,
but at that point I was like, I have to get this out because I went through like severe depression in lockdown, not only because we were locked down and we'd lost our job and lost our livelihood and people were dying and it was a scary time. But because I was like, oh shit, all these little things are coming up. I did have, which I've never had before, and I don't know if this is like a form of PTSD because I don't really know a lot about it, apart from obviously that I know that you deal with it and why and what your symptoms, would you say, are? But I started having flashbacks.
And babe, when you suppress anything, like... That's the thing. Okay. Like the second we suppress anything, it's still there. We haven't dealt with it. And my therapist actually said to me a lot of like, so like PTSD and anxiety and depression, we deal with it like a bottle. So imagine you're just shoving everything into this bottle, like all these things. You even said to me, you don't remember bits. There's bits that are a bit flaky, bits that are a bit like foggy. Because you've whacked it in a bottle so much and then you've put everything else on top of it. And eventually that bottle's going to be full and it's going to explode. Because it can't fit any more in. And unfortunately, the bits that are going to come out are the things you don't want to deal with, such as flashbacks, such as remembering things and going, that happened, and it feels like it's happening then and there all over again. And
there was definitely
horrific,
flashbacks that I genuinely was like, but even like memories, like good memories.
Yeah.
Because obviously, apart from the things that I've just told you, I know it's hard to believe that at some points there were good times.
Of course they were.
There were times where I genuinely believed he loved me and vice versa.
Yeah.
So those things are the hard ones to have flashbacks about, because I'd have flashbacks about them that I'd completely forgotten about. And I was like, oh yeah, that happened. But then I would do the thing of feeling guilty because at one point I was like, I miss him. And then I was like, whoa, that's not good. But I didn't mean I was going to act on it. It just meant that I was going through all these emotions that I should have gone through then, but I didn't. I just went,
but you didn't.
You're not allowed to miss somebody who's that horrible. So go and get on this cruise ship that you've been given. And live your best life.
Yeah. And
that was it.
Yeah. They say like an end of a relationship anyway, it's like going through a death. You grieve, it's denial, it's anger, it's all the emotions. And as much as, even though it was a horrific and abusive relationship, like you said, there was good times. Of course there were. You were with him for like, what, 5 years, was it? 4 years?
God,
5?
5
years? Of course there were good times and there were good memories, especially at the beginning. So like, you're not only are you grieving the loss of the person you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with, but you're having to deal with the fact that you have zero self-esteem because of that person that you fully trust and love and want to give your life to. And it's amazing that you've come out the other side of it, and like in such a short period as well. Like it's only been a few years.
Yeah.
And that might seem to a lot of people, that's like, oh, it's been years, but the damage is so extreme. And I'm so proud of you, and I really am. And like, I'll never forget the day you freaking voice noted me, and I was stood in Covent Garden, and I'll never forget, and I even told you this, and I was stood outside a shop, and you said to me, you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the artist thing. And you were like, I'm in the studio and I'm writing stuff, and I will send it to you. I promise I'll send it to you. And I was like, okay. And you were like, this might get edited out because I'm not sure if Farah is going to mind me saying this.
Oh gosh, go on.
But you said to me, I'm going to change my name.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And you were like, I'm done with Nicola.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And you told me about Farah. And I was stood outside a shop in Covent Garden called Farah.
You took a picture and sent it to me, and I was like, that's the sign.
Yeah. And I literally was like, babe, yes, 1,000,000%. And you changed your name on Instagram, you do that sort of stuff, and you're like, oh, people are going to think I'm being a wanker or I'm being this. And I was like, absolutely not. Yeah. You are embracing this woman who you have hid inside you for so long, that's been screaming to get out. And I know we've had, like, okay, I never called you Nick anyway. I always called you Mike. But
yeah, I have many nicknames.
That's a whole of a story. But this whole new Farah is a woman who is empowered. She is strength. She knows what she's been through, and she's here to talk about it. And she's doing all the things Nicola wanted to do but was too scared to. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
And obviously all of our friends still like occasionally call you Nick and stuff because that's your name. I mean, it confuses Aidan, my partner, to no end.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because he's just like, who are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, Mike. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
What? Which person? And I'm like, you know who I'm talking about. If I'm talking about anyone, it's usually you. So yeah, that's kind of why, to flash back to a few past episodes, if anyone's ever called Farah Nick, she's not two different people.
It's me. It is. And I needed Farah
amazing
to pull me out of it, because when it came to lockdown, I kind of think, because I've said this to you since, like, I needed Farah because to me, I was like, this is the character that I'm going to be as an artist, who is not scared, is fierce as fuck, and all of the above. And and doesn't care what anyone thinks or says. So I kind of used that as like, right, this is it. Do you know what I mean? She doesn't care. Yeah. She doesn't have time for trolls. She doesn't have time for people who, like, you know what I mean? Don't believe in her. Ain't nobody got time for that. So, but then in lockdown, because obviously this was before lockdown, that's then when I had to kind of go back to Nicola and work on Nicola.
Yeah, and deal with it.
And I was like, oh, hey, she's still there, because that's obviously me. And I've wrapped her in cotton wool, but now she needs to kind of heal again. And that's the part of me that I think, like you, and I really do appreciate you saying that I've worked on myself a lot, because that's the part of me that I've worked on. Yeah. Because Farah's the person who, you know, gets on the stage or gets in the studio. And Nicola's the one who sits here, you know, meditating and studying tarot and sat with charging her crystals, cleansing her home, you know? Yeah. Yeah. But I like to think that the two are the same, that, like, you know, that's Farah's just the ballsy side who's like, right, come on, get your shit together. Let's go. Get your ass on that stage.
And I love both of them very equally. obviously you're my Nick, so you're always my Nick.
Obviously.
But obviously, I'm so proud of you, and I honestly you know me, I don't sugarcoat anything, and I don't really blow smoke up anyone's ass, because again, I've learned that I can't be asked, and why should I now? And when you showed me your music, I was it's always daunting when a friend, especially a close friend, is like, I've written some songs, would you like to hear them? Because they might not be my type of music, I might not like it. And I literally sat in my kitchen and I was like, this is sick. And I even said to you, I was like, I've got Purple on repeat. Purple's my favourite. I was like, I love all of them. And like, No Caller ID it's weird because it's quite sinister, but it's also quite sexy. It's such a weird vibe.
I definitely out myself in this.
I love
definitely, you know, like I said towards the end,
and I'm
things
so
were,
here for
like,
it.
Well, when I went back, things were I hate it. I hate that was a situation, but I'm not going to lie about it, you know. So
no, and it's what was right for you at the time, and I think everyone needs to kind of remember
it was another lesson.
Whatever situation you're in.
It was me, you know. I kind of I should have listened to my gut, because I deep down knew I wasn't healed and I wasn't ready to accept an apology or anything else, because I should have known
so hard.
I was going to get manipulated again, and I did.
Yeah, but it's so hard to say that, isn't it? Because hindsight is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because you are such a good person, and there is so much of you I know will have answered that phone call going, maybe he has changed, maybe things will be different, maybe this is just something we put behind us, and that's a beautiful quality in you. And please don't ever I know you regret that, I know you do, but you learned from it and you walked away going, yeah, definitely no, thank God, definitely not. And maybe you wouldn't have had that closure if when you first walked away you'd have got.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's easy for me to sit here and say, God, I wish he'd pressed charges and I wish he was locked away, but also that doesn't feed your soul.
No.
Like, that doesn't affect your life. Like, yes, he's still out and whatever, but that doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't change what happened. So you are who you are because of what you've gone through and the strength you found. Yeah. And what? Oh, hello. Hello. Unprofessional.
Oh my God, my voice went then.
I know. Also, who's texting you? I'm the only person that can text you.
Well, actually, it's Pretty Little Thing sending me 20% off. Go away. Stop it.
Sponsor us. Anyway, sponsor us. But yeah, it's such a weird thing because I hear so many people say, I don't know why they just didn't leave. Why? I mean, he threw you down a flight of stairs. Why didn't you just leave?
Yeah.
And it's so much harder than that, especially when you believe that everything he's saying is true and that's all you are worth.
Oh, I was told constantly, like, you'll never get any better than me, or go leave, see what happens, and you know.
Yeah. And it's so fucking hard. It's so hard. And I'm so proud of you. I know, like, earlier we had a rant because we do feel like you had a very successful business and you packed it all in to pursue your dreams, which I'm so proud of, and I'm an advocate for it. Like, fuck yes.
Yeah. That's why we need sponsors,
but it's
guys.
terrifying. Sponsors. I don't know if we've mentioned, but sponsors. But I'm so proud of you that you've done that, and it is hard. It's fucking hard, but you easily could go back to that business and get a nice little house and Donny, and you could be that girl, and that's nothing wrong with that, absolutely not, but it wouldn't feed your soul. No. And I'm just so proud of you that you are. So yeah, and I think I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people, and I'm really glad that you've spoken up about it, because it's horrific.
Well, thank you to you, I want to say, not only for being the best friend anyone could ever ask for, because I know we were like, Stu, stop it right now.
You know, I hate compliments. I'm like, God,
right, well, I'm going
to
call you out now, okay? Are you going to listen and accept this compliment I am about to give you? Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
Right. I'm going to make you smile the entire time. You can't see her, everyone, but I can. So stop rolling your eyes at me.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm going to stop.
No, because you are an incredible person, and you know this, and I tell you this all the time, that there are so many things that I don't know, I can talk to other people about, but you're the first person when it comes to any thought in my brain that we all go, that's weird. Why would you? What? What's that?
Yeah.
And like, am I mad? The first, when you have them days, I'm like, am I crazy? Have I gone mad? And then I literally go, I'll just ask Nat. She'll tell me. And it's not because I'm like
she'll be honest,
putting everything on you. It's because I know that when I come away from it, I'll feel a million times better, and I'll adjust my crown, and I'm good to go for the day.
Yeah.
And you give me that.
Good.
You genuinely do.
I mean,
and I love you.
You're not going to make me cry.
I know.
Again.
I'm like, stop it right now.
Like,
but now we're crying. Now we're crying for good reasons. I've also just
God.
headbutted my mic. Sorry, listeners.
Sorry, guys. This
Sorry,
is like a
headphone
cry
users.
cast. I'm so sorry.
Is that a thing you said?
I
But no,
don't know.
it's true. And you know, to be
No.
able to tell our stories, like we've said,
Yeah.
to just help one person, and
That's all
that's
we want.
what we want. And if, you know,
Yeah.
we want to really genuinely create a space so that this
Yeah.
morning when I got up and I felt like shit and I had a wobble yesterday and I've
Yeah.
had a cry today before the podcast, might I add. But the minute I got onto Nat, and even though, might I
Yeah.
add, before she told me she'd had the panic attack on the M40, before she even talked about herself, she knew that I wasn't okay. And she asked me what was wrong. And then I vented to her and she put me back in my place. And then when, oh, by the way, like I had to pull over yesterday on the motorway because I had a massive panic attack, because that's the person you are. And I feel I want to create a space so that everybody can do that.
Yeah.
With us
That's what
as
we want.
well.
I want to take back the beat. Yeah. I want, like you said, you feel better just from having this conversation, just having someone listen to you and believe you.
Yeah.
And trust you. And that's what we want. And that's what Take Back the Beat is. And I'm very, very proud of you,
I'm
Farah,
proud of
for
you.
talking.
I feel like this is going to be the longest podcast. It may
the
have to be
longest
a
podcast.
two-parter. I'm
I'm just gonna say we're gonna do this in two parts. This is the first part. This is Farah's story, and love you very much, and we are gonna say goodbye to you there, guys, and then check in for part two. But Farah, you're a dream. You're a successful woman, and please go find Farah on social media. She's on TikTok. She's a lot cooler than I am on TikTok. She does like cool dances and stuff. Or find her on Instagram, on Spotify. Please listen to Awaken. It's absolutely stunning, and yeah.
Thank you.
I love you,
more.
you dickhead.
Piss off.
Piss off.
Bye.
Thank you guys for listening.
you.
Please tune in again. I love you. And if you want to email us in, please do. It's takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. And yeah, have a great day, guys. We love you all so much.
Take back the beat. Voice notes.
We do apologise if anyone was triggered by any of the dialogue we used today. We are still learning and we are only just beginning to talk about our own experiences. We're aware that trigger warnings are completely different for everybody, so please bear with us. We love you all. We also want to hear your experiences. If there's anything you'd like to share with us, any stories, anything you are happy to discuss on this podcast, you can stay anonymous if you would like. Please send us an email at takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. That's takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media at Take Back the Beat. Thanks, guys. We love you all.